program for my first year in 1980. And I was in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, all throughout the 80s. I did youth staff, eventually becoming an adult staff member in 1990 and 1991. And then I took a long break from this program. And about 6 years ago, I came back when my son was old enough to be part of the program because I thought, this is an important thing and this will help to change his life. So that's when I became involved again. I wanted to mention, before I talk about the competencies, I wanted to mention one thing that you may all be asking yourselves right now, and that is, why are we called White Stag? So the answer to that question actually comes from 3 Hungarian scouts, one of which Steve talked about earlier on. This is his master's thesis that he was working on at San Jose State in leadership development. So he put this together to design for leadership development, that leadership could be taught. So these 3 Hungarian scouts immigrated to the United States, and being from Hungary, one of the important myths or legends in Hungary is that of the white stag. The white stag is a symbol of taking a group of people from one place and taking them to the promised land. So the white stag for us is the symbol of our program because of those 3 founders, but also because it symbolizes always moving forward, upward, and onward towards our goals, towards our vision that Sean talked about. So, a design for leadership, 1957. Bela Banathy thought that there were 11 skills that we needed to be effective leaders of groups. And those skills are communications, or what we sometimes call in this program GGI, giving and getting information. Understanding the needs and characteristics of the group, so understanding how your group reacts, how you interact with that group, what those needs of the people are that are in your group. Knowing and using your resources. So I have physical resources and I have people resources. How do I use those most effectively to do the 2 things that a leader should be doing, which are to get the job done, whatever that task happens to be, and to keep my group together and moving together in one direction to get that job done. Representing the group. So as a leader, one of my jobs is to represent the group. And that doesn't mean that I'm representing only my opinions. It means that I'm taking the opinions of the group and I'm representing them to, if we're talking about, as Kim said, in our particular phase, which is phase 3, troop leadership development, all those patrol leaders are working with their patrol and they're taking their ideas to the PLC and trying to figure out how to solve those complicated tasks. But they're taking their groups, they're representing the group in the PLC. Planning, right? So we have to plan something, and we like to write that plan down, as Connie has done here, right? So we have a sample schedule, we have what each of us is supposed to be doing in the back, and all of your youth right now that are out there doing things, all those youth staff had plans for today that they wrote out, decided what they were going to do, how they could most effectively communicate what this program is in a fun way to your kids today. Evaluation, which is something that we're constantly doing, right? So it doesn't matter if I do something, if I don't think about how I did it and try and improve upon it, right? I'm never going to improve. So evaluation. Controlling the group. Learning how to take a 11-year-old, that phase 1 candidate, as a patrol leader. How do I get that 11-year-old to be part of that group and to follow me? Right? difficult task. It becomes a little bit easier when you get to phase 3 and we've got 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds. Right? They're more willing to. Setting the example. Something that we do in a number of ways here. Our actions, the uniform that we wear. Kim was talking about it a little bit. The sense of if I'm going to set a good example for my patrol, and I've got my water bottle and it's full of water, right? I'm going to help my fellow patrol mate by setting an example and showing up on time and being ready to go. Sharing leadership. Sometimes leadership is not about doing it yourself, but it's about delegating or selling an idea to someone, sharing that leadership. Counseling. This counseling and MOL. So for phase 1 learns 8 of the 11 competencies. Phase 2 and phase 3 do all 11 of the competencies. And that's because developmentally, an 11-year-old is not going to retain as much information, right, as a 16 or 17-year-old, for the most part. So counseling is something that we teach, and it has to do with, again, how you interact with someone. If someone's having a problem, how can you help them out with that problem? Very valuable skill. And the last one, MOL, which stands for Manager of Learning. And it is the method by which, in White Stag, we teach. So we are, either as adults at the beginning of the year, working with the youth staff, or the youth staff now working with your sons and daughters, the managers of learning. We're not actually teaching them the skills, we're actually helping them to learn those skills through this process. And it's a process that has a guided discovery, so we get to know what they know. We help them to understand what we want them to know, and then there's an application where either a game or some activity or some project where we apply the skills that they've just learned. I'm going to throw one last one in here, a 12th one that sort of falls in among these others, but is really important, especially because I've taken up my time, and that's time management. Knowing how long it is to do a task, and then to be able to manage that time in the most effective manner. And those are the 11 leadership skills that we teach you on today. Thank you.